Sancre Tor, a holy place, once. But Sancre Tor became evil long ago. No one has returned from the shrine of Tiber Septim for many lifetimes. Hey, welcome back. And today we are going to be talking about the original capital of the Cyrodiilic Empire in the First Era and the resting place for the Riemann Emperors, Sancre Tor. You have hopefully visited this location during the main quest line of Oblivion, Blood of the Divines. You will already know the sorry state the structure lies in the 433rd year of the Third Era. It was once a place of pilgrimage, to witness the very spot Tiber Septim became blessed by Akatosh to join the Divines as a representative of humanity. Now, sealed by the authority of the Grand Master of the Blades, 36th year of the reign of Tiber Septim, the Underking, the main antagonist of the Elder Scrolls II Daggerfall, has corrupted the Citadel with evil, trapping the souls of the four best Blades agents at the time inside Sancre Tor forever as one last sign of revenge to the Septim dynasty. There are 2 books in the Elder Scrolls Oblivion Remastered, going over the history of Sancre Tor. First, The Legendary City of Sancre Tor by Matira Chapel, an attempt to chronicle the rise and fall of Sancre Tor, and The Battle of Sancre Tor, the story of how General Talos defeated the stronghold of Sancre Tor from the enemy invaders who occupied it. The legendary Sancre Tor can be found here, in Coral, in the house owned by the Fighters Guild Master Velena Daunton. During the Skyrim conquests, First Era, 240 to 415, ambitious Highland Earls, envious of the conquests and wealth of their northern cousins in High Rock and Morrowind, looked south over the ramparts of the Jarl Mountains for their opportunities. The Jarl Mountains proved to be too great a barrier, and the northern Cyrodiil too poor a prize to reward full-scale Nord invasions. However, Elysia hired many ambitious Nord and Breton warbands as mercenaries, with the promises of rich lands and trade concessions. Once settled among the victorious Elysian Cyrodiils, the Nord and Breton warriors and battle mages were quickly assimilated into the comfortable and prosperous Nibelline culture. Elysia received the divine inspiration for her slave rebellion at Sancre Tor, and here she founded her holy city. Sancre Tor's mines provided some wealth, but the poor soil and harsh climate of the remote mountainside meant it must be supplied with food and goods from the heartlands. Further, on one of the few passes through the Jarls, its fortunes were subject to the instability of relations with Skyrim. When the relations were good with Skyrim, it prospered through trade and alliance. When relations were bad with Skyrim, it was vulnerable to siege and occupation by the Nords. With the decline of the Elysian Order, circa First Era, 2321, the seat of religious rule of Cyrodiil moved south to the Imperial City, but Sancre Tor remained a mountain fortress and major religious center until the rise of the Septim dynasty. In Second Era, 852, the city was suffering under one of the periodic occupations by Skyrim and High Rock invaders. King Kulakain sent his new general, Talos, to recapture the city and expel the northern invaders. During his siege, Sancre Tor was destroyed and abandoned. Realizing the strategic weakness of the site, General Talos, later Tiber Septim, resolved to abandon Sancre Tor, and during his reign, no effort was made to rebuild the city or citadel. Elysian historians asserted that Sancre Tor was magically concealed and defended by the gods. Records of Sancre Tor's repeated defeats and occupations by northern invaders gives the lie to this assertion. The entrance to the citadel was indeed concealed by sorcery, and the citadel and its labyrinthine subterranean complex were defended by magical traps and illusions. But their secrets were betrayed to besieging Nords by the Breton enchanters who crafted them. One enduring feature of the Legend of Sancre Tor is the ancient tomb of the Riemann Emperors. Following the defeat of the Akaviri invaders, Sancre Tor enjoyed a brief resurgence of wealth and culture under Riemann Cyrodiil and his descendants, Riemann II and Riemann III. Tracing his ancestry back to Saint Elysia, and following the tradition that Saint Elysia was buried in the catacombs beneath Sancre Tor, there is a competing tradition that Saint Elysia is born on the site of the Temple of the One in the Imperial City. The actual resting place of Saint Elysia is unknown. Riemann built splendid funerary precincts in the depths of the ancient citadel underpassages. Here, the last Riemann emperor, Riemann III, was buried in his tomb with the Amulet of Kings. During the sack of Sancre Tor, General Talos is said to have recovered the Amulet of Kings from the tomb of Riemann III. Theologians ascribe the long centuries of political and economic turmoil following the collapse of the Riemann dynasty to the loss of the Amulet of Kings, and associate the renaissance of the Cyrodiilic Empire in the Third Era with Tiber Septim's recovery of the amulet from Riemann III's tomb. Sancre Tor has lain in ruins since the beginning of the Third Age, and the surrounding region is virtually uninhabited. Now, all communications with the north are through passages at Coral and Bruma, and Sancre Tor's citadel and underpassages have become the refuge of various savage goblin tribes. And the Battle of Sancre Tor can be found here, on display at Castle Burville. In Second Era, 852, allied Nord and Breton forces crossed the borders into Cyrodiil and occupied the major passes and settlements in the Gerald Mountains, making their headquarters for the winter at Sancre Tor. The Nord-Breton allies dared King Cuhlicine's new general, Talos, to assault them in their mountain fastness. When they learned that General Talos had mustered an army in the dead of winter and was marching to assault Sancre Tor, they were elated. Sancre Tor was impregnable, its citadel on high cliffs overlooking the lower city, nestled in the high mountain basins with steep, unscalable cliffs in the rear. The Cyrodiilic army was small, poorly trained and outfitted, short on rations and unprepared for winter campaigning. As their ragged units assembled on the lowlands beneath the citadel, the Nord-Breton allies confidently assumed that their enemy had delivered themselves into their trap. The citadel was not only protected by unscalable cliff in front and unscalable heights in their rear, but the entrance to the citadel was magically concealed under the appearance of a large mountain lake in the basin beneath the heights. Accordingly, the Nord-Breton allies left a small force to defend the citadel, descending through lower passages to attack and overwhelm the cold, hungry Cyrodiilic forces before them. They expected to defeat, overrun, and annihilate General Talos' army, leaving no one to oppose their springtime descent into the Cyrodiilic heartlands. Thus did General Talos lure the Nord-Breton allies to their doom. Leaving a weak force in the lowlands to draw out the defenders, General Talos approached the citadel of Sancre Tor from the rear, descending the supposedly unscalable heights behind the citadel and sneaking into the supposedly magically concealed entrance to the inner citadel. This remarkable feat is attributed to the agency of a single unnamed traitor, by tradition a Breton turncoat sorcerer, who revealed both the existence of the obscure mountain trail down the heights behind the citadel and the secret of the citadel's entrance, concealed beneath the illusionary lake surface. While the Cyrodiilic army in the lowlands fought a desperate defense against the Nord-Breton sortie, General Talos and his men entered the citadel, swept aside the sparse defense, captured the Nord-Breton nobles and generals, and compelled them to surrender the citadel and their armies. The confused and demoralized Nord captives, already suspicious of the scheming Hierarch sorcerer aristocracy and their overreaching dreams of heartland conquests, deserted the alliance and swore loyalty to Tiber Septim. The Skyrim generals joined the rank and file in the Tiber Septim army. The Hierarch battle mage command was summarily executed, and the captive Bretons imprisoned or sold into slavery. Thus was the concerted allied invasion of Cyrodiil foiled, and General Talos' army, swelled by the hardened Nord veteran troops that played so crucial a role in General Talos' succeeding campaigns, which consolidated the Colovian and Nibelline into the core of the Cyrodiilic Empire, and which, resulting in the crowning of General Talos as Emperor Tiber Septim. Historians marvel at Tiber Septim's tactical daring in assaulting a fortified mountain citadel against vastly superior numbers. Later, Tiber Septim attributed his unwavering resolve against overwhelming obstacles to have been inspired by his divine vision of the Amulet of Kings in the tomb of Riemann III. Young Talos may indeed have been inspired by his belief that he was fated to recover this ancient, sacred symbol of the Covenants and to lead Tamriel to the high civilization of the Third Empire. Nonetheless, this should in no way reduce our admiration for the dash and genius of his defining military triumph against impossible odds. Hey, thanks for watching that thing that I made. I feel like my voice was a little inconsistent at this one just because I do a lot of horror acting during Halloween, so my voice was a little bit sore, so I hope that what I put together was acceptable for you. And if it was, remember to do all of the cool things, like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more Elder Scrolls readings in the future. And if you have any suggestions on what to do next, please leave them in the comments, along with any other things to say. I don't know. So remember, all hail the Empire.